Hello, people. So let's line up the camera. Is that close enough? Let's do that rather. All right. Welcome to lesson 4, Starseed University. So now we are going to be continuing with looking at your inheritance, instant manifestation, and how you can use it. So in the last lesson, we looked at scripture a lot, just to activate the foundational knowledge in your genealogy, to wake that up. It's already inside you. And now we are going to talk about the order of creation. But first, some of you want to know more about this seraphim serpent thing. Now you're going to have to look at these verses on your own because I want us to cover quite a bit today. So I'm not going to read through every single verse today. You have to pause, find it on your own and by yourself and figure it out. But I will be quoting some and reading some, and we might have a visit from the god of thunder later on. So let us see, which is normal because we are talking about sacred things and our things because we are the burning ones. So let's talk about this serpent now. There was long ago, before this earth became what it was, a serpent called the Twisting One, or the Twisted One, or Tiamat, or Leviathan, or what else? Kaliapani, or I don't know, Yam. There are different names for this serpent, but let's call it the fleeing one. So there was this serpent, but I want you to, instead of thinking of it as an actual snake, think of it as a person, like maybe a general or a major. And he lived in this society, and we won't go into the reasons now, but he defected from his people and he ran away to this planet that was full of water, and he decided to hide in there. And who was he hiding from? He was hiding from the Most High, from the Creator. And he went all the way to the bottom of the ocean. Now, instead of calling it a he, let's change it to a she. Let's say it's a woman, the fleeing one. And she went to hide all the way at the bottom of the ocean. So a lot of different cultures talk about this snake. And they also talk about another snake called an Ouroboros that eats its own tail. We are not going to use that imagery right now. So separate the idea of the Ouroboros from the idea of Leviathan or Tiamat in China or Kaliapani in India. In African culture, it's called Inkanyamba. Inkanyamba. And it's the huge giant snake. We all have different names for it, but it's the same thing. Now, in all these different cultures as well, we hear about this certain creature or humanoid being that defeats this giant snake. In Hebrew or Judaic religion, culture, whatever, we hear about a man called Baal, and he is the one who kills the snake. So what's our symbol for killing? He kills the Leviathan. I think it's LVTN, because there are no vowel sounds in Hebrew. So Baal kills Leviathan in our general culture. Then you have another culture. I think it's Sumeria. I don't know, you guys have to research, but there's a character called Marduk or something. You've heard about this, I'm sure. And he kills a character. I think he kills the Sobek, which is a half man, half crocodile from Egypt or something. No, Horus kills Sobek. It's Horus and Sobek. Marduk kills some other thing. I don't know what they called the snake, but all throughout history, every single culture talks about this humanoid who killed the snake. Well, that's what we call the Big Bang. Because that's when creation started in what we call humans. Now, in other cultures in Egypt, they talk about Set, who goes down to kill a snake called is it the Orus? You guys will have to look that up on your own. I'm deliberately making it vague because you need to do the research too. But Set goes down and kills a giant snake, and he chops it up, and he uses that snake to basically build the world, to build the marine kingdom. No matter what story you hear, they all point to the same basic idea I want to tell you now, which is when we discussed the process of what happens when you go to sleep and how you travel to a different dimension where you go and see a giant snake in the 4D before you cross over into the 5D. So this is all 4D. That snake is alive over there. It's not alive over here because it was killed. But its spirit is alive in the 4th dimension, which is in the Saturn-Moon matrix. That's the main projection field. And since that snake and all its children are alive in the 4th dimension, that's how marines or marine spirits influence the 3D by possessing the warlocks who try to use these spirits for evil. The spirits are actually coming in from the 4th dimension, and they are supposed to be contained because their mother works for us now, because we defeated it, whether you call it Horus, Marduk, Baal, whatever. We have already defeated that fleeing one, the agent who thought he could hide from God. So now, how do we apply this to using our powers and our gifts? What does this actually mean if I'm saying that this is now in the fourth dimension, which is the etheric realm or the realm of thoughts? Have you ever heard of something in your brain called your reptilian mind? So you have, by virtue of being born in this planet, oh, there's our thunder god coming as as expected. So you have your reptilian mind, which you inherited by virtue of being chopped up into little pieces by the original star marine, the original god, the original alien. Let's call it the OA, original alien. So the original alien came and chopped up the reptilian DNA of the snake that used to be here and created us, a hybrid of itself, which is a star race being, and this reptilian thing. And we discussed in the first lesson how humans are 70 to 90% reptilian or marine, and we are 50-50. Now that 50-50 is a little bit deceptive, but I need you to think of it as 50-50 for the purposes of activating, using your powers within. So I want you to imagine that your 50% of the marine DNA is inside your reptilian mind. Now, in the next part, I'll bring my psychology book out and we'll go into different parts of the brain. But for now, your reptilian mind, you can locate it in the following areas. Your reticular articulating system. This system, your RAS, works very closely with your limbic system, which is the seat of your emotions in your brain. The marine or reptilian mind or brain or control is telepathic. So whenever you dream of these people, they never speak, right? They just talk to you through your brain. Then you know you are talking to your marine ancestors. Now, when we die, we go to Lumania, or the moon. We go to the different holding zones for our energy. Some people call it Shangri-La or Shambhala. These are our dimensions. And some cultures say we go inside the ocean, but actually we're going inside through the ocean to Lumania via the moon. But whenever you dream of these beach places and these sea towns and all of these things, you are dreaming of your heritage, your normal place, and you are doing it telepathically when you communicate to those beings on the shoreline, because they are marine beings. They represent this one, the fleeing one, the one who thought he could run away from God and from God's sight. And that one was used to seed this special race who is to worship God, because that's the punishment of that being, is that they will seed the race of, out of rebellion, they'll seed the race of those who through free will choose to worship the Most High. Why? Because it's instant manifestation. Everyone gets what they want at the end. So, whenever you see reptilians, they are not trying to harm you. Just like people, some are bad, some are good. And that's why you need to learn about your true history so that you are not influenced by the media to fear people who are trying to help you. When they are drilling inside your brain, they are helping you put information. It's not, and also you don't have to visualize it as them drilling into your brain. You can visualize it in a nice way. But that means you have to believe and understand that they are here to help you, because you are in control of the manifestation of how they appear to you. And if you want them to appear in real physical 3D, as you call it, then ask them to appear in real physical 3D, and they will appear in real physical 3D. If you want them to appear to you just in dreams, then ask them to appear just in dreams, and they will. They are communicating with you at all times, and they are watching and listening. So you need to talk to them as well, and talk to them out loud, not just telepathically. You can do that in your dreams, but talk to them with your voice, because when you talk out loud, you affect the particles around you. And that's how you activate your star powers. Because yes, the reptilians will talk to you telepathically, but now you need to stop talking to them and talk to the stars as well. Because you need 50-50, guys. And you guys do your visualizations, you do all your law of attraction stuff, which is marine technology. But you also have to do the star stuff. You have to do it, act it out for real. Okay, and this is the section you haven't been doing, and that's why we are here. So, we made humans using that snake, which now only exists in the 4D. I explained this in Star Marine episodes from 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But this is just another summary for you in a nice televised lesson. But if you want to see more about it, you can go back to that. So this snake no longer actually exists here, but we do see it when we dream about it. Okay, and you can go look into all these other stories about it, where they show at the end of the battle, there's always a half man, half animal. This is always talking about a star marine in our 6-pointed star. Okay, so why is this important? This you acted out because it's fire. It's not marine. It's fire and air. So why is it important to act it out? Why is it important to know all these symbols? Well, our symbols have been stolen by people who claim to be Illuminati. Everyone has seen this, haven't they? So this is the famous Illuminati. And as you guys know, people always try and copy the things of the spirit realm, and they try and, put spirit inside of a physical object, and that's not done. It's impossible. It's an aberration, and it's abhorrent behavior. You cannot put things of the spirit into physical matter. Physical matter is dead. It's the last of the vibration. It is saturnic. It is slow moving matter. It can be manipulated into many different things. You guys know how easy it is to take a plastic object and melt it in fire, destroy it, because physical matter is nonsense, it's rubbish. But some people think that they can, through sheer will alone, recreate our technology that we've inherited genetically. They think they can recreate it using signs and symbols. They think that the power is in our signs and symbols, when all our signs and symbols are little clues, so that when we see them in the future, we remember what to do. So this idea is that a bunch of people called the Freemasons found our stuff, and they decided through Aleister Crowley to create a widening, ever widening gap of polarity between people by inventing something called Satanism, which is just a front for idol worship, which is a front for human sacrifice. So our God is against this. This is all. We do not believe in this. We do not want this. It is unnecessary, and it is against star race. It contravenes star race laws. You're not supposed to sacrifice humans. It is not the done thing unless they consent. And it's been getting harder and harder to get people to consent. So what these people did, who are just a bunch of what they did, confused people, is they decided to use him to create this fake thing to continue idol worship, so that they could get people to join and sign up to do human sacrifice by themselves. Because people are getting smarter and smarter, and they are not willingly going to present themselves up to be burned in a fire. And so they had to develop new ways of getting the same kind of numbers that they used to get to go into the fire or the volcano willingly all those years ago. And they had to devise this war of polarity where you have to pick a side. And they had to use our technology in order to do that. And that's not fair. And now we're taking it back. So one of the things that they tried to use was this code. And all this is showing is the order of creation, as above, so below, etc., etc. And so we are going to have a look at how this actually plays out, because if you see a lot of the writings of these people, they use this symbol and attribute it to the Baphomet. But if you guys studied history, you know that Hitler used very sacred, holy symbols from Buddhism and Hinduism for his crazy plans. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility and even real life occurrence that people would take holy symbols and use them to scare the bejesus out of you so they can control you. But fear not, I have a degree in this, so they can't fox you out that much. They can't outfox us. or you. So these people are not, imagine like you're this advanced like alien and you crash on Earth and your spaceship breaks down and you leave some of your magazines like lying around the forest, and then 10 years later some criminals come and they find your magazines and they see all these symbols and they just take it and they start a cult based on that. That's what happened. That's all that happened. And they try to like, do MK Ultra with using your technique. That's all that happened. And now you come back and you take all your stuff back. That's all. Because you're the only one who knows how to use it. So this is the real use of these symbols. So if you remember in one of the lessons, lesson 2, I showed you the order of creation. I told you that we have 1. Can you see that? This is God, the Most High. We only believe in one God. Yeah. And then we're going to zoom in. Let me show you the zooming in part. Let me show you that before people go insane. So we believe in one God. See? There's only one. Now, when it comes to the Trinity, all we are literally doing is zooming in to God. And we can zoom in. We're allowed to zoom in. Because when you develop a personal relationship, that's what it is. You find ways of personally relating to Hashem. So in order to do that, you have to zoom in and figure out who is the I am, what Moses figured out, and what Jesus figured out, and what Abram figured out. And what our ancestors figured out, as they are the ancestors of Melchizedek. We are in the Melchizedek bloodline because the information is in our genes. So when we talk about the Trinity, if anyone argues with you and tells you you are a false prophet because you believe in the Trinity, tell them they are lying to you. They are talking lies because you are zooming into one God. So let's use the idea of a cell, because we all know cells. We all took biology. We've all seen what a cell is. And we all come from a stem cell, a cell. So when we zoom in, or let's say a structure, a particle, I'm going to use a crystal molecule. I'm going to zoom into a crystal molecule. Okay. So here's a crystal molecule. God made it. So according to hypostasy, we can say God is in this molecule. So I'm going to zoom in with my telescope. God is in the molecule, but God is not the molecule. Oh. So we're going to zoom into this molecule. And as I zoom in to this crystal, I see it has an electron, a neuron, and a proton. Because now I've zoomed in. And now I can say, oh, this crystal is made up of 3 molecules. Then I can zoom in again. And I can say, oh, these 3 molecules are made up of 3 atoms. Okay, that would be the proton, neuron, whatever. Then I zoom in again and I say, oh, each of these atoms are made up of 3 subatomic particles. And so on and so forth. But when you zoom out again, so we zoom in, it looks exactly the same. Let's zoom into just the one. So ultimately, when we look at the one, well, there's the one. But then we zoom out and we see it is all connected. Oh, that's all we're doing. So there is one God, and when we talk about the Trinity, meaning God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we are saying that's what God is. And then some people say, well, you're not supposed to know that. It's a mystery. It's a secret. And we say knowledge is not a sin. Knowledge is not a sin. It is a key to open the doors to your kingdom within, which is what you are instructed to do first. In Matthew 6:33, seek first the kingdom within, with all your righteousness, and all these things will be added unto ye. Go look it up. So what about this kingdom? Because you're a priest of Melchizedek, so what about this kingdom? Well, this is one of the reasons why, as a star marine, you are not supposed to work for anyone on earth. You are not supposed to work for anyone on earth because you are a king, you are a host. Seek first the kingdom within. So inside of you, there is a kingdom. That kingdom is inside your pineal gland. And that kingdom, okay, let's do it as a cone because that looks wrong. But it's so right. There's your pineal gland. Okay, and this is your doorway, your pathway, your gateway to the kingdom within. Now, there are 3 centers to the human body or experience. And if we have to locate each of these genetic components that we're talking about, we're going to use a diagram to make it easy for us to understand. And this is the diagram we're going to use. So I want you to imagine that you are looking at yourself from the top down. And you have 3 fields of the energy around you in your aura that affect you. And your aura is part of your light body, but your body's inside your aura type of thing. So it's through you and inside you. But all you need to know is just imagine you're a bird flying up in the sky and you're looking down, and around your body around your body you see these 3 shields or fields emanating from you. The first one, we can think of it like the internet. Okay, we'll go bit by bit. The second one, you can think of it as your intranet. And this one is your exonet. So these are the three fields that you interact with, let's say, in the projection realm. And each of these fields correspond to a certain kind of law, a certain kind of schema or algorithm that creates your manifestations, everything that happens in every single moment. Now, this is happening subconsciously because, as we said, the Marines control your reticular articulating system, or RAS. But we are talking about star powers now. So we're talking about light bodies. And this controls uh, different fields, projection fields of matter, reality, holograms, things you can actually see. Jesus actually was real. He walked on the actual water type of thing. How? This is how. So when you look down at yourself, you have these three fields, and let's talk about how you work with the different realities or laws within them. So the internet is, I'm using these words because it's like you understand what these concepts are. So apply them to your body. I'm not saying you actually have internet, but it's like internet. So this is your marine. So you know how the internet, the actual internet, is flowing through wires that are under the sea, right? You know that. It's called the Five Eyes. The people who control the internet that runs under the ocean. Look it up. That's where the internet comes from. So you can remember this part as being your marine. And this, you can think of it as being in your gut. What is in your gut? Your enteric nervous system, your ENS. According to science and biology, your enteric nervous system is as big and as complicated and as complex as the brain of a cat. And a cat has 9 lives because a cat can see into different dimensions or frequencies, right? And a cat can sense things. So this is your hardwired internet. This is your instinct. It's your connection to the 3D realm, the actual process of being here, like your judgment. So this internet connection to your reality protects you on an instinctual level, okay? Then you have your intranet. Your intranet is connected, so I'll put here 3D. Your intranet is connected to the 4D. Your intranet is the etheric realm. It's your pre-consciousness. It's your ability to know that the phone is going to ring in soon and you know who's on the other side of the phone. How do you know that? Because you use the intranet. This is what most people confuse with or say is the aura. Because it's what society can see of you. Let's put it that way. It's the sum total of your thoughts and your feelings. So this is your intranet. It's what you believe about life. You could even say it's your persona. So let's put that there. Persona. It's who you are to the world. Who you say you are, who you think you are. And this is where the astral realm is. Astral and etheric, you could say. It's like a blending. And then you have your exonet. The exonet is where we get our powers from. This is where Metatron and Melchizedek come and take us. This is the fifth dimension, as we call it. Here, you will often, in my song, Mvikeli, I sing about this. So I want you to go listen on Spotify, on YouTube, everywhere. Go listen to the song called Mvikeli by Mvikeli version 3.5.7. Now, in my music and all my artwork, I am encoding it to activate you for instant manifestation. Not that it's got special magic powers in it. It's made using technology from this exonet, from the 5D. And in this song, I talk about the blue light. I say, you're a vision. I talk about two things. I talk about the blue light and I talk about the purple dimension. So when I'm talking about Mvikeli, I'm talking about Melchizedek, the high priest, Jesus, whatever you want to call it, the Holy Spirit. I'm talking about the being that we pray to, that saves us and helps us. So again, it can be any, you can substitute that with whichever name you want to use, because as you know, the power is not in the name, it is in the feeling of the name, because that would mean people who cannot speak cannot be saved, and that's not true. People who cannot speak can most certainly be saved. That's why cutting out someone's tongue is not going to stop them from their inheritance. But anyway, in the song, I talk about the blue light and the purple dimension because I'm talking about this sphere of creation, or this net, the exonet. And the exonet is how we are able to use instant manifestation and how we are able to exist in our own reality while living in this 3D hellhole. That's how we do it. And a lot of people in the past thought they had to, escape in other different means, like they had to leave this earth. No, do not go anywhere. You are staying here. We've been here, we're staying here, we're not going anywhere. And that's why one of you needs to do this petition and make haste before they steal our rights. Now, because you all have access to this kingdom, when the Lord says, seek first the kingdom within, He is asking us to go inside to that internet, to your gut instinct, to your marine. And through a process called vitriol, you go inside to your marine and you kill it, just like Baal and Marduk and all those people before you, because they are you, remember? Hey, let's go. Just like these people, Horus, there, let's use Horus. Just like Horus, you need to go and get your star power from the snake. There is a dark passenger within you who ran away, and you have to go fetch them. And this process of fetching them is called vitriol. It's a process where you go inside the earth and you do an alchemical process. Yes, alchemy. And when you do this alchemical process, you are able to come out through this kingdom and enter the exonet, where you now have the gift and the keys to instant manifestation. But first, you need to go get that marine. You need to go kiss the snake. You need to go chop it up, do whatever. I don't know what your battle's going to be, but it's coming. And it has to do with you overcoming the 3D, your instincts, your marine. And that's how you become a star marine, and that's why we use bread and wine. Bread is the star, wine is the marine. Because wine is a spirit. It's an alcohol. It changes your spirit. It makes you become more marine. But just because we are Christians, it doesn't mean we have to run away from wine and run away from tarot cards, run away from horror movies, run away from wearing black, piercings. No, we can do anything because we own the wine. It's in our blood. Drink this wine. It is your blood. Because why? Our DNA is made with this Satanist, with the Luciferian. It's in our blood. But it has been saved and purified. This sin has been paid for by Jesus, the high priest. And so we can eat of the bread. Because both of these things, we're going to do a class on it, but both of these things have yeast in it. Bread has yeast and wine has yeast. Bread has sugar and wine has sugar. But whereas this, the effect of the yeast on the sugar is to puff up the bread, or if it's unleavened bread, it's unpuffed up bread, but it still doesn't get you drunk. It fills you. And this does change your state of being, but it's the same ingredient. If you can understand that, we serve the one God, the God of the yeast, which we can use to feed ourselves or to make wine and enjoy ourselves. Either way, we are not doing anything wrong. You are not doing anything wrong. And once you accept that, you will be able to manifest whatever you want, because all the desires of your heart were put in there by the Most High. And when you build your tabernacle, because that's what your kingdom is, right? When you go inside, you build your temple within, your tabernacle. And King Solomon tells you how different ways to do it. King David. For your purposes, you can look up King David. And look up why, when you go to the dream world that we talk about, Lumania, you always see two pillars, or you see pillars, Roman pillars everywhere. Pillars, pillars. Why? Stick to your genetic inheritance, guys, because of King David. You know what I'm doing. See, you can't draw above God. Even they won't let me. Because of King David. That's why you keep seeing these pillars in the mall world. Okay, so we are going to learn a little bit about this. I cannot go fully into it because it is a personal journey and I'm not your high priest. I am a high priest just like you. So you can talk to the high priest and he will tell you what to do if you need more. But just take this in and meditate on it, because now we are going to go over the order of creation and then we'll close today's session. So let's start again, or continue. Okay, so we said that we have God above all. Okay, there we are. Then we have water, because in the beginning in the Bible it said that God hovers above the water. And we know now that who was in the water? The marine that you have to take and, get your powers from. And then we said that God said, so there was air involved, the breath. That's why when we do step 1, if you go to the video about the light codes, the 7 light codes, the first light code is about this, air. First is a video that tells you about water. Then there's the one that tells you about controlling your breathing, because that is self-control. When we learn to control our breath, we are learning self-control. When we learn self-control, that's creation, because you're not just randomly letting things happen to a pattern. You are intervening using your light, hopefully. And then we have fire. And that fire creates earth. Now we're going to change the names and titles of these things so that you understand the 7 rulers of our reality. So these 3 things are just what they are. They're elements, even earth. But the difference with earth is we can change it easier. For example, I can put my hands into the earth and nothing's going to happen. But if I put my hands into frozen water, my hand's going to fall off. Or just normal water, my hand will be wet. And if my phone falls into the water, now my phone's broken. If I put my hand into fire, it'll burn. If I put my hand into radiation air, it will melt. So these forces are just forces, primordials, or you can call them the ancient ones. And again, if you zoom into these things, there are many different qualities and natures of them. Emanations is what we normally call it. But let's continue. So earth, this earth is called Urantia. That's the name of earth. So why? Well, because of Uranus, the sky god. This is going way back into history. And also now represented by Saturn. So Earth is actually under the rule of Saturn. When we had Pangea back in the day, when all of the planets were together, if you go back to yesterday's lesson, I talk about directed panspermia. According to Crick, who discovered DNA, That's when it happened. That's when we were seeded onto this planet during Saturnia, or during Saturnalia time in Pangea, whatever you want to call it. So this was the nice time. This is the purple light time that we talk about. And this wasn't just here. This is in the stars. This is in the stars, but also here, but mainly in the stars. Saturn was amazing. Well, Saturn is amazing because it's Metatron. It's where the Lord, who gives us our powers, kind of operates from, right? That's why you have our symbol on the planet of Saturn at the pole, because it's ours. Okay? We copped it. Our base. Get off our planet, please. Okay. So after this, we have the moon. Can you guys still see? And the sun. And so now these form the binary charges on this planet that the Satanists are using to try and control the world by exaggerating the binary, which is totally ridiculous because God is one. So you can try and exaggerate binaries as much as you want, but they will always snap back, and that's what's happening now. So then you've got the sun and the moon, and this matrix, as you know, is how they use their Luciferian magic, but this is also how we come here to Earth. So there's nothing evil or bad about this. You know about the 29.5 day cycle versus the 29.5 year cycle. Yes, it's very much done like that on purpose, okay? The moon takes 29.5 days to do a cycle. Saturn takes 29.5 years to do a cycle. The moon is cycling the earth, or the sun. The Saturn is the sun. The earth and the sun. You know what I'm saying. This is old stuff that you've heard. The only thing you need to remember from this is, I want you to think of this side as being feminine and this side as being masculine. And then I want you to remember what I said, which is half man, half animal, half feminine, half masculine. You've seen these statues before. They are ours because we represent the mixture of both. Okay, so let's keep going. So this matrix is basically how we are created. And I would call these the stars above, or the upper heavens. Then you have your, I would say, lower heavens, but I wouldn't take these terms I'm using as gospel. I'm just making these up as a human on earth. So, yes, because we are half alien, half human, but we are alien overall. Okay. Jupiter, the planet of expansion. Then we have Venus and Mars. Now Mars as well works with Pluto, but we don't need to talk about that right now. We're only looking at the 7, which is Saturn, Moon, Sun, Jupiter, Venus, Mars, and finally Mercury. Now Mercury can also be Jesus or Jehuti. Jehuti or Thoth. These are the energies that ensure that the sons of Melchizedek are always given their information. So whenever you hear in the Bible about these aliens who came down to earth to teach people the 12 arts and to teach people the star knowledge, these are the people they are talking about. These are the stars. And these stars control 12 constellations. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So these 7 stars, with Mercury coming down to disseminate the information and the energy, so Mercury can travel between all the realms and come back. He's not bound to any realm. That's how life plays out on Earth, because once these 7 intelligences and all of the angels that they represent, etc., they come down to us as the 13 signs of the zodiac. I'm going to leave out Ophiuchus, or the 13th sign, for now, even though I have a thing for it there. But I'm going to put it in, but I'm going to just say 12. It's 13 because it's, remember, our number, 13 cubed. So it's 12 signs plus Mercury, 12 signs plus 12 disciples plus Jesus, 13. So we have Aries, constellation, and aliens who come from Aries. We have the we have the Taurians, who are Pleiadians. We have Geminis. We have the Cancerians, who are more moon-based, Syrian-based. Leos, Virgos, if you know, you know. Libras, Scorpios, who work with Arians, and Hephaestus, and Vulcan. We have Scorpio. Who's after Scorpio? Okay, we have Pisces at the end. Okay, then we have Ophiuchus. Then we have Sag, right? Or is it the other way around? Then we have Cap and Aqua. Okay, guys, this is easy. You look it up online. Okay, don't need to teach you the star signs. And then these 12 constellations control the 144 angels that control the 360 degrees of life, and 6 degrees are demons. It's actually 5 degrees, but there's a secret one. We're only going to talk, fine, I'll tell you about all of them, but it's 5 plus the 1. Okay, and that's where we are going to start tomorrow, and we will continue learning more. But now you have the order of creation. So the first thing you need to do is to go find your Vedic astrology natal chart, because that will give you a snapshot of who is working on you. And for that, excuse me, you will need your time of birth. Now, you are a star marine. If you don't know your time of birth, you go into Lumania and you go and intuit your time of birth. You go look it up in your vision. You go, like in Revelations chapter 4, you get called up to the heaven and you go through the doors you need to go through to find your time of birth, because you have access to everything now. There's your gift. It's been paid for. So you own the cube. Go and use it to find what you need. And when you find your astrology chart, we will talk about the 7 lights tomorrow, because these 7 stars, you come from one of them. And I want you to go watch a video where I talk about them, and you will go choose which house you belong to, because that'll help you in your instant manifestation. I can't tell you, because maybe you are more into Martian stuff. I don't know about Martians. Okay, I do know, but I'm into these people because I trained with them, which is why I'm giving you music and all of these things. Remember, this was the chief of music in heaven before they ran away. So then you need to look at who is your people, and then that'll help you figure out how to start your alchemical process, how to go, which marine are you fighting in vitriol, right? Because your marine comes from one of these places. So you need to figure out where, so that when you go within, you know who you are going to be fighting with, who are you going to be battling, so that you can build your temple like King David did. Well, he had it built for him because he said his hands were too violent, or had seen too much violence, too much sin. And so Jesus will build it for you too, because you're Melchizedekian. A Melchizedekian. That's gonna be. You're not a Kardashian, you're a Melchizedekian. And there's the beep beep. So meditate in the blue light. Now you know why Scribblebite is blue and gold, because gold is the top of the bottom, blue is the bottom of the top. So you can connect the 2 pieces of the snake together, the north nodes of your moon. You need to connect these together to overcome the demon. And it's through one of these things. Leave any questions you might have. I'm pretty sure it's quite clear. This is the order of creation, of perfect governance. This is how light flows down from the Creator. Okay? And these are the order of elements in their power and importance. If you want to find out which element you come from, I recommend you find a chirologist. And they would be able to help you with that. I also recommend you use the Vedic astrology chart from Vault of the Heavens on Google. I suggest you use that. It's by a man called Ernst Wilhelm. You can find him on YouTube as well. He has wonderful videos that actually break down each of these star powers and their marine equivalents, and you will be able to know what your actual battle is about. Because yes, this is a battle for your life, and it's all happening inside of you. So I live here now in the exonet, but because of your prayers and belief and love, you've pulled me into your experience. So I cannot actually physically help you with this. You have to put it together. I have given you music and books that have all the signs. I have also given you Night Game, ARG, so that you can physically complete your initiation. Because some of you want a physical experience. Well, you need a physical experience. And this game will give it to you. It's available on the channel for free on YouTube, and there are extra materials on the dedicated web node. This is best viewed on a desktop computer because the layout has been optimized for 16:9. So if you want to play the game on a desktop, you can play it on the web node portal. If you want to play it on a vertical screen, you play it on YouTube. Everything has been optimized to make it easy for you, so that in the final day when God says to you, why didn't you listen? If you didn't listen, and you say, because no one told me, then God will say, but there, we sent you Mvikeli version 3.5.7 with 50 billion ways to find me, and you didn't do it. Proceed down to the hot section. No, that's not going to happen. But at least now you know that you have no excuse to not do your work. If anyone asks you what you're doing, tell them you're making a movie. You're a method actor and you're auditioning, you're playing a part, you've just gotten a part, and you are practicing for a character role that you're doing. And then be free to act out loud, to do your scripts like I talk about in the books, so that you can manifest the real world desires of your heart. And don't be afraid of these intelligencies. Talk to them as if they are people, because they are. You are them. They are you. So if you need to go, stand in front of a mirror and say, okay, I want to go in. Who are you? Where are you? And most importantly, test them. That's what Night Game teaches you. It teaches you to test the spirit through the spirit of discernment. Okay, you need to ask it questions and make it confirm it is who it says it is. And now just to close off, I told you you cannot have a boss. Why? Because you have a kingdom. So how can you have a kingdom and then have a boss on earth? Does not work. You have to look at opening your own business, otherwise you'll be in trouble. And we see this in Judges, because this has genetically been judged. So in Judges, there's a man called Jotham, and he gives us a parable about some trees, some big, tall trees, and the trees are trying to make themselves small, trying to dim their light, like most of you who are scared of people in the 3D. I'm telling you, don't be scared of anyone here. They can't do anything to you. So I'm going to start reading from Judges 9, verse 14, but you need to read the whole thing on your own. So the trees go around asking for people to rule over them. And eventually the trees go to a small little bramble bush. So imagine these tall trees going to a small bush and saying, please be my king, please tell me what to do. That's like imagining you going to the government and saying, Tell me what to do. Help me vote. Help me. No, you just do whatever you want to do because you work for King Melchizedek, Jesus. So you don't have to ask for anyone's permission to do anything because you already have righteousness on your side. So anything you do is ordained for the greater good. So, number 14, verse 9, Judges, it says, chapter 9, verse 14. Then all the trees said to the bramble, "You come and reign over us." Let's zoom in there. Then all the trees said to the bramble, "You come and reign over us." And the bramble said, oh, let's focus. There we go. And the bramble said to the trees, "If in truth you anoint me as king over you, then come and take shelter in my shade." Now, how is a tree going to take shelter under a bush? So it's not going to happen. How are you going to be someone else's employee from earth? It's not going to happen. It's not true. So the bramble bush said, "If in truth you anoint me as king over you, then come and take shelter in my shade. But if not, in truth, let fire," so there's no in truth, "but if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon." So that's what this whole thing is about. You guys fear demons and you think demons are trying to kill you. They're not. The demons will continue to chase you until you accept your inheritance, because the demons are there to work for you, to wake you up, to show you that you do not belong in the mundane world, in the real world. You are not of this world, as I told you in the last lesson, as Jesus told, because I only tell you what he told you, and he told you you're not from here. So you need to start to act on your inheritance, or it will be sit there unused and you'll waste time. So you are a tree. You exist here in the exoskeleton in 5D. But now you need to go in here to get your star back, to kiss the snake, to charm it, so that you can use your powers in Lumania and influence your entire field of creation. And all of this is on Scribblebyte. It's been here since 2019. I have 3 color-coded fields of content. I have content that is blue and purple. I have content that is red. And where I'm wearing red. And I have content where I'm wearing yellow. And it's like DNA, it connects. It's all there for you to go through the different stages of alchemical transformation. You start with Negredo, then you go to Albedo and Rubedo, and then you end in Citrinatus, the gold. So you can now leave comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe and share with other people who are star seeds and star marines. Remember, we wouldn't be here without your prayers and belief and love. So stream the music. You don't have to buy anything. All you have to do is stream it and I get paid. Okay? It's very simple. You pay with your attention. We don't want your money, we want your attention. We'll get the money from the 3D. You just pay with your attention. Okay, so I'll see you in the next lesson, lesson 5, where we go further into the technology we use for instant manifestation. And then also, depending on any questions I get, I'll see if you want me to go deeper into the actual process of alchemy or shadow work, because everyone talks about it. They're like, yeah, go do shadow work. And then 10 years later, you're like, what are you doing? It's a very quick, easy process that doesn't need to take half your life. It's just a particular structure that needs to be followed. So I can add that into the core course, or we go straight into instant manifestation. See you then.